All right, well, for the second video in a row, I'm putting together something that wasn't the video I planned to put together. Now, seeing as how I had some performance issues, or I had some concerns on my main rig, thinking about swapping it from Windows 10 to Windows 11, I was going to go ahead and take my small form factor, Danny D, that's got a 1700X in it, on a B450, MSI B450 motherboard. And I'll go ahead and show you what all is in that what all is in that build right here. But my thought process was I will just go ahead and take Danny D, and I will put Windows 11 on that. I'll take all the benchmarks and everything before and after, especially all the new benchmarks I'm doing. Do a before and after both the driver, the NVIDIA Windows Ready driver, Windows 11 Ready driver. I was going to go ahead and do it before then after that, and then the Windows 11. But I didn't realize that I had already downloaded the new Game Ready driver for Windows 11. So I figured, if nothing else, I'll go ahead and start on that. Well, I started having some problems because I noticed that I wasn't getting one of my memory modules to show up. So one of the issues I'm having, you can see right there, I've got 2 RAM sticks in. And at first it was trying to tell me I only had 8 showing. And it gave me some weird number for the clock speed. Well, now you can see my clock speed, 1066.4, which is fine. I get that. That means that whatever I tried to do for an overclock didn't work. But this says size 16 gigabytes. All right, so if we go back to the hardware monitor, or task manager, I should say, and we look there, task manager says 2133, that's fine. I'm using 2 of 2 DIMM slots, and I've got a total of 8 gig. 7.9 available, or 7.9 total. So this is after I've gone through, this says up here 16. And then memory, so I don't know what's going on there. This does say 16. This over here says 8. 2133, which is fine. I get that. That means something didn't work right, but I'm really worried about this. Now what I've already done is I've already gone ahead and updated the BIOS, because at first this second module here wasn't registering at all, and I swapped out, and I know I had good memory sticks because I swapped them, and I tried each one of them in the first slot that was registering, but it told me I had 2 out of 4 slots being used, which wasn't right. So I updated the BIOS. Now I'm using 2 out of 2 slots. I've got what seems to be a normal memory if it didn't accept my overclock. However, I'm getting some really weird things as far as the amount of memory that's available. And I'm going to try to see if I can't fix that and figure it out. So if I can, I'll document that as well. Alright, so we're going to continue on, because when I went back in the BIOS, guess what? It's already set up for 3200 megahertz. It should already be in profile 2, and yet it didn't read it. So that is a further interesting little thing, and we're going to have to figure out what's going on. It is reading both of those sticks. Give me a second here, system status. Yep, right there, reading both the sticks. That's really weird. Perfect, problem solved. Don't know what the glitch was, problem solved. Until I started getting into testing and realized that even though my computer said I had 16 gigabyte running at 3200 megahertz, all my games were only registering 8 gig. And it started out with Shadow of the Tomb Raider and with Borderlands 3, and noticed that it wasn't not only using all the VRAM, but it wasn't getting as high frames per second as it should have with 16 gig. And it didn't, the GPU was definitely not being taxed. So back to the drawing board, trying to figure out, and so we took a look at it again, and it appears, like I said, I don't know how I'm going to cut all this together, but it appears that I do have a DIMM slot that is dying, or has died. Alright, so I've had to take a DIMM out because it will not run with 2 modules of memory in there. I can only get it to come back up with one. So now I'm going to have to go back and find out. I'm going to try to put the memory module back in and see if it'll boot. And if it does not, then my the DIMM slot on the motherboard is finally gone, and I will have to get a new motherboard. This video ends up becoming me troubleshooting a little bit and the demise of Danny D's motherboard. Not the full demise of it, but I'm sure other parts will start to fail soon because I'm only getting one DIMM slot, and that DIMM slot is not even working to its full potential. So basically that machine is now pretty well, it's pretty, yeah, I'm not going to say useless, but that motherboard is looking to cause problems. And the longer I go with that motherboard, the more chance I have of it damaging other components. And so, unfortunately, Danny D is going to have a new motherboard. It was good while it lasted, but you know, all good things must come to an end, I guess. It's been good for how I've used it, and as long as I've used it. It's really only been about 3 years, two and a half years. So I wouldn't have thought it should have died by now, but things happen unexpectedly and without reason. So that's definitely the problem, though, because I can swap out either one of the DIMMs. I can swap them into either one. I can use the good slot with either one of the memory sticks. So it doesn't matter. I've tried all that troubleshooting. What it amounts to is that the one that is closest to the front of the computer, or closest to the front of the case itself, is going bad. And even though sometimes Windows will see it and it will come up immediately after, if Windows registers all 16 gig, you can bet the first application I run kills it. And it's been doing it all afternoon. So that's where I'm at. And so again, like I said, I don't know how this is going to be edited together. If it's really weird and hodgepodge, I apologize, but I figured I would take you guys along on the journey, and I will show you guys what happened. So that's basically it. Danny D is going to have a new motherboard. We're going to have to figure that out. And you know, life happens. Sorry it's not more interesting, or maybe if it was a little bit interesting, or if you have suggestions or things for me to try. Obviously I've tried the obvious stuff like clearing the CMOS and all that, and swapping out different, not swapping different memory, but I have swapped those memory modules in each slot. That's how I was able to find out that both memory modules are good, and that it's the DIMM slot itself is bad. But any other suggestions that might be helpful, or if you just want to pay your respects to the motherboard and Danny D, you know, I appreciate that too. So thumbs up is always appreciated. Thumbs down if you have to. Give me any comments you can, especially if you have any suggestions for what to try to do. I'm going to pull this motherboard out and do some testing just to kind of see, and for my own mind, if I do get it to work, maybe I'll try to put it back in. I have no idea. But until next time, folks, that's all I got. So I'll see you later.